this morning is titled Worry Much? And if you worry at all about anything, you're worrying too much, aren't you? But I have two words that I'm going to share later that are spiritual principle that will help us on this journey of being on that path of worrying too much. And so I'll reveal them later, though. All right? So you might not think that you are a worrywart, but there could be situations or people in your life that pop up in your mind from time to time that can make you worry. Isn't that true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is occasional worry. They call it occasional worry, which according to professionals is normal. So maybe you just, for a hot second, think about a bill and go, oh, yeah, I got to pay that. You know, that's like occasional worry. Or somebody that you know that is having a struggle or something, a challenge in their life, that pops up in your head, and then you go, oh, no, it's okay. You know, that's occasional worry. And the thing is that it's normal. Now, if we have a worry condition, that's what they call it, a worry condition, it could be an anxiety disorder. This condition is persistent, excessive, and unrealistic about everyday situations that interfere with your life. Now, maybe you know somebody, or maybe you are a person that worries too much, that feels like you're always stressed about stuff and just always worrying about the bills or what to eat or who's in your life that's giving you the drama, all that kind of stuff. If you're in that situation, then I suggest, to get some help, get some mental health help. And it's okay because, sometimes we need to process that so we don't go off the deep end. But otherwise, we can look at it and say, okay, maybe I'm, this is showing up in my life, but I know that I can work through this, and I know that God is with me in this situation so I can come forth with what all I need and bring forth the truth of God, which will change everything. But we have to do our part in this situation, and we have to have some spiritual principles and practices in order to move through it with ease and grace. I don't know what that is there. Okay, I don't want that yet.
Don't worry about it.
I know, I'm not worried. But have you ever worried over something? I'm going to have to read this one because it's not up there. Only to have it resolve itself? Yeah, we all have been there. We sit there and stress and worry about something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I was worrying about that last week, but it's no big deal this week. And have you ever stressed so much only to find yourself sick from the worry? I mean, that's the worst part of it, that it can show up in your physical body, the stress that we have, and there's all kinds of things that can happen. But I've done this very thing. I have been in a place in my life, and this was the one that popped up in my head when I was writing this message, because I know we all have several of these examples that we could use where we were overstressed. But the one that pops up for me was the experience that came to mind was when our daughter Grace and Warren and I went to Kansas City for, it was for conference, and we were interviewing the soon-to-be candidates for ordination. And so we got up there, and Grace had just graduated from high school. She had enrolled in a program that was an IT program. She was going to go to college for 3 years and get a bachelor's degree from it. It was a special program that they had created. And it was really exciting times, and things were going really well. And so when we went up there, we let her take the car and go visit her friends, because we used to live in Kansas City when we were in seminary. And so we just thought she was going and visiting her friends. We thought she was. Well, come to find out, she was going over to this guy's house, and he was a few years older than her and stuff. We didn't know it at the time, but this one last day that we were there, before we had to leave the next morning, she was in another room at Unity Village, and she was working on her thank yous for her graduation gifts. So all of a sudden we got down and we went to find her, and we couldn't find her. Now that's a big campus and lots of buildings, but it was obvious that she had just left all her stuff there, and it looked like maybe she went to the coffee shop to get something and come back or whatever. But no, we couldn't find her, and the car wasn't gone, thank goodness. But we looked all over, so we went to the Unity Village Police, and then they looked at some of their tapes and stuff, and then we got Lee Summit Police involved, which is the little town right there by Unity Village, a suburb of Kansas City. We got them involved. Everybody was looking for her. We were so worried and so stressed because we thought somebody had kidnapped her. you know, because there was a lot of that going around up there, and we, you know, kind of like they've had in Atlanta before, but we were, I mean, I was making myself sick. I was like stressed out, worried, you know, not sure what was happening. And in that moment, you know, it's like, okay, I couldn't pull myself out of that. You know, it was just awful. Well, with some investigation and stuff, we found out that she had taken off and gone to this guy's house, and she didn't want to come home. She decided she was going to stay there. Well, of course, you know, I just was crying my eyes out, and poor Warren had to drive us all the way back from Kansas City with me crying and saying, stop the car, we got to go back and get her, and all this crazy stuff. I mean, I made myself sick with the worry that I had. And when I got home, I was still upset for 3 days. I mean, I just couldn't do anything. And then I thought, no, now I'm mad. You know, I'm mad about the whole thing. And then that's a whole other thing, because you're going into the grieving process at that point, and that's another lesson for another day. But I found myself realizing that worry and stress it's just not necessary. Now, I've been through a lot more situations kind of like that, you know, with her over these last, oh gosh, it's almost been 10 years since she graduated, hasn't it? Or it has been 10 years. I just didn't even think about that. But, you know, I've learned not to get so whacked out and stressed out and not let it affect me physically, you know, because there are some legitimate causes for stress and worry. I mean, that was a legitimate cause at the time, because I was feeling like, you know, she was kidnapped. But at the same time, did I need to go to that extreme? No, we don't have to go to that extreme. But the cause of worry is defined as a state of anxiety and uncertainty over actual or potential problems. Now, if we keep worry in that place, then we're good to go. But what happens is we start using worry as something more than that. We start using it as a place where we are really, I'm checking the slides here for a second. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the cause of worry, it can happen when we're dwelling and dealing with negative thoughts or negative possibilities. And that's what happens. It might not be an actual problem. We might just start going to the negativity zone and thinking, oh, this is horrible, this is worse than it is. Or maybe being around other people that are negative, other people that are always in that drama zone, always stressing and worrying over stuff, can cause us to start feeling like we have to, you know, be worrying or be nervous. We don't need to go there. Then the other thing is, for a lot of people, perfectionism becomes a thing to worry about, because you want to get it so right sometimes, don't you? And you strive and work and you're thinking, oh, I got this perfect. And somebody comes along and says, oh, that isn't how I would do it. But we take it to heart, don't we? We don't look at it like it's just an observation. No, we start worrying, well, how could that not be so? And that's where perfectionism can be a worry spot for some people. Another one is the fear of losing something important. You know, have you ever felt that way? You start worrying about something because you're afraid to lose what it is. Sometimes it's even just cleaning out your closet. You start getting this fear, oh, I can't give that away because I love that thing so much, even though I haven't worn it for 20 years. But, you know, we get in these states of mind that can activate the worriness or the stress, and we don't have to go there. We can let it go. We can release it. And that's not my 2 words, but you might think it is. But, you know, I always say, if you feel like you're stressing over losing something, know that in divine mind, nothing is lost, right? I always say, in divine mind, nothing is lost. And that's the truth. God knows where everything is. All we have to do is say, okay, God, I can't find this today, but help me find it. And it works every time. I have to share this. JW, I had done the laundry, all the boys' laundry, and there's always socks missing, shirts missing, and I have to buy 2 of everything for them. So I always have 2 pairs of whatever. So there was a bright blue pair of shorts missing. So I said, somebody didn't put their blue shorts in the dirty clothes. You need to go find it. And so Aiden goes, it wasn't mine. I said, I know, Aiden, you always put yours in the dirty clothes. And he really does, most of the time. I'd say 99.9% of the time. But anyway, so JW, all of a sudden, is this the shorts you're looking for? This was after about 30 minutes. And I go, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And he said, well, what I did is I stopped and I said, okay, God, tell me where those shorts are. And he told me that I had left them under my bed. And look, I got the shirt that goes with it. Like a bonus. But I thought to myself, well, this is good. He's following the principles. He's taking what he's learning and putting it into practice. And why aren't we doing this all the time? I mean, of course, I like to say that. To me, it's kind of like a quiz. Okay, God, I don't know where something is. Tell me where it is. And, then it appears. And it is like that. And even like he said, oh, yeah, it works. It really works. So anyway, but yeah, we have to not fear and worry over losing stuff. From the Bible, if God so clothes the lilies, shall he not much more clothe his children? This argument holds good for all human needs. Actually, this was from Dynamics for Living, I think. Yeah, anyway. My slides are messed up for some reason. I don't know what happened, but that's okay. This is continued. There is a natural law whose chief purpose is to take care of the human family. But the divine order of creative mind must be observed by man before he can receive the benefits of his natural inheritance. We have the ability to claim divine order in anything that we do or anything that we are working on. And it's just those two words. Those are the two words I'm talking about. Divine order. The minute we decide something's in divine order, no matter how catastrophic it might be or whatever, then we know that everything's okay and there's nothing to worry about. We know that we don't have to go to that extreme drama or fall into those traps or be in that place where things are out of control. And I love those two words, divine order. Have you ever, see, that one was supposed to be somewhere else. And here's the cause of worry. Yeah, dwelling on negative thoughts and possibilities, seeing or being around other people, worrying can trigger it. Stay away from negative people. Perfectionism, setting unrealistic standards. Nothing you can do when you're around people that are negative, because sometimes we have to be around people that are negative. Form a bubble around yourself and just tell yourself, I'm not letting that energy in. And that's claiming divine order for yourself. You're not allowing that energy to come in. There you go. Okay, now this is important, because we can look at the side effects of that worry may cause, and it's kind of funny because when I looked this up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Cardiovascular, increased heart rate, palpitations, chest pain, tightness, high blood pressure. Anybody ever have any of those symptoms? I mean, yeah, you get yourself all riled up, don't you? Gastrointestinal, nausea, diarrhea, constipation, stomach pain, and irritable bowel syndrome. And what do they want to do with any of this stuff right here? They want to give you medication, don't they? Here's some more. Muscle tension, headaches, back pain, and joint pain, shortness of breath, rapid breathing. So it could go either way. Wheezing and chest tightness, lightheadedness, dizziness, tremors, numbness, or tingling, sweating, hot flashes, cold sweats, and dry mouth. I say that these causes sound like a commercial on TV, don't they? And by the way, this may cause, they said 90 to nothing, super fast. It's like, oh my gosh, everything can cause something, can it? So why do we go there? Why do we go to that place of worry? We don't need to. We can claim divine order in our life and let it go. Let it be free. Don't let it bog us down. And I love that because it makes a big difference in our lives. Divine order, that's all we have to climb. Say it with me. Divine order. Don't you feel better already? Here's the definition from Revealing Word of divine order. Divine order is the first law of the universe. Indeed, there could be no universe unless its various parts were kept in perfect order. The facts of spirit are of spiritual character, and when understood in their right relation, they are orderly. And I always love this because you think about the earth being formed and it all being in order. And the trees grow out there. They're growing in perfect divine order. If a branch falls off, that's divine order. If the tree dies, that's divine order. Do we stress over that or worry about it? Only if it lands on our house. But we don't have to even worry about it then. We can release it and let it go. And I love this because God said, let there be light. And there was light, wasn't there? If we claim divine order, what are we going to have? We're going to have divine order. Light is the very first thing that happens with divine order. Light is the very first thing in consciousness when we receive a God thought. It is that aha moment. And that's what's cool about claiming divine order. We're going to have those aha moments where everything feels and you know that it's all coming into place. And that it's aligning itself in the perfectionism that is really, truly divine and not just our own thing. You know, Jesus said, I am the light of the world, but Jesus also said, you are the light of the world. So we claim it for ourselves, and we know that when we shine that light, we're living from that God essence that we are. And that's claiming divine order for yourself. When we are expressing from the shining light that we are expanding our thoughts to bring forth divine order. Let your light shine. Be who you are. It's so cool when that happens because it brings forth peace and comfort and just kind of an ease to your life. And don't you want to feel that? Don't you want to be living in that breath instead of living in the, yeah. And what does it take? 2 words, divine order. Say it with me again. Divine order. And then when we claim that divine order, God will align it all for us. It'll manifest in our lives and we will see it. Moment by moment, day by day, we will see it. And if we skew off the path, you know, claim divine order again. Get back on the spiritual journey that you want to be on. It's really easy to do that. And we also have the power to push it away too, to just stay on that negative side, to go down and keep stressing and worrying. But we have to be the ones to claim it for ourselves and bring it forth. Because it's in there. It's one of the 12 powers. It's in there. And one reason we want to do this is because God is unlimited, and so are we. We are only limited in our human existence when we edge God out. And I like to refer to Sandy always saying, when you talk about ego, you're edging God out. So you want to not do that. You want to keep God in your life, in the forefront of your mind. You want to bring forth the essence of God, which one of those attributes is divine order. And the effects are always what? They're always good. That's right. How do we follow divine order and still keep order in our everyday living? We accept and affirm truth and know God. We affirm divine order and know it is in place in our life. Can we do that? Yes. Can we claim it for ourselves? Can we know that God is always with us? And the struggle becomes keeping that going all the time because, you know, it's easy to get caught up in all this other stuff. From Dynamics for Living, Fillmore says, then you will come into the consciousness of a new world of thought and act and find yourself doing many things differently because the orderly mind that directs the universe is working through you. That's what I'm saying. A harmonious relation will be established in all your ways. Who wants a harmonious relation in your life? Yeah, I do too. I want to be in that place where it's always good, where it's always feeling perfect, where no matter what happens, it's not going to rock my world, where I'm going to feel fine. You know, and God does everything in perfect timing. Like I said, the trees grow, the plants grow, that's divine order. Everything comes into play. You know, have you ever had this happen? You have a bill sitting there and you're stressing over it, you're all whacked out because you think, oh my God, there's no way that this is going to be taken care of. And all of a sudden, you either call that place and they say, oh, well, we can lower your payments for you. Or you take a breath and hear it in the mail as a check that you never thought was coming. Or somebody gives you $100 and says, hey, I just wanted to share this with you. I've had it happen. Or you all of a sudden you think, God, this isn't that big a deal. I could pay a little bit this week, a little bit next week, and it's all resolved. That's all we have to do. We just have to take that breath and allow God to bring forth a new result for us. And it's huge. And it's all in divine order. What would our life look like if we affirm divine order over everything? Yeah. Claim divine order when we eat and no longer have food issues. How many people and I've heard tons of people say this, oh, I just have a problem with eating. You know, it's either I can't stop eating or I like sugar too much or blah, 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 all this stuff. Claim divine order and allow God to help you. Allow God to straighten You know, Dave Ramsey says, pay the first one and keep on working down. And that's what you have to do sometime, and not stress over whether they're knocking on your door or not. Affirm divine order, and family is no longer overwhelming. Now, whether you got babies in the house, or whether you got elementary kids in the house, or God forbid teenagers, no, I'm just kidding. These guys are coming fast and furious in the. But, you know, we have to claim divine order and know that the family is all okay, that everything's falling into place. Maybe your relationship isn't perfect right now. Claim divine order and allow God to help you smooth out that place. You know, whatever we struggle with, it doesn't have to be a struggle. It can be a letting go and aligning. Aligning. I like that word. I love to think of it aligning. Because, see, divine order is an idea of adjustment. Once we affirm divine order, everything is adjusted. Our mind, body, and actions will flow with the universal harmony. It's an adjustment. And if we allow the adjustment to happen, then pretty soon we're just back in that flow and everything's just moving smooth. Don't you want that in your life? So, I say affirm divine order before we begin everything, and the results will be grand. Can we do that? No matter what we're doing, we take a breath and say divine order. We're nervous about talking to people. Claim divine order. We're nervous about this or that, or worrying about something. Put it down and say divine order. Just claim it over it, and it'll make a difference. And when we are asked the question, worry much? The answer will be, no, my life is in divine order. Thank you for being here.